You're listening to Miss Style, Strength, and Grace with Deidra Murphy. This is your one-stop shop for style, fashion, health, and fitness. Deidra's passion is to help empower women to reach their fullest potential, both inside and out. Deidra and her guests will be discussing how to develop your style, health, and lifestyle hacks to energize your day and inspire you to keep reaching higher levels of success. Deidra is a professional fashion stylist, health guru, and Mrs. Washington 2017. It's time to get open and honest with Deidra.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Miss Style, Strength, and Grace. I'm super excited to be talking about strength today as I am finally getting over being sick and I finally started working out again this week. I took a little bit, about a week off just to let my body rest and I felt kind of sluggish, but this week I got back in the gym and I was working out the other day. And I was focusing on my leg day. For most of you that know, my husband and I built our own at-home gym. It's in our garage. It's kind of everything that a CrossFit gym would have, from free weights to a squat rack and bars. And we have a treadmill out there. So it's nice because we live in the country. So just to get to a gym probably takes us about 35, 40 minutes. And it wasn't happening when we kind of moved to our home that we're in right now. So eventually we built a gym at home and saved both time and money in the long run. And it's ended up paying for itself because now we don't have to pay a gym membership or a CrossFit gym membership. Anyway, I was working out and I set up both of my bars. Now, typically we have two bars. Typically I don't use both of the bars because my husband and I enjoy working out with one another. And we have some Rogue Fitness bars. Your typical barbells. His is 45 pounds and mine is 35 pounds. And I like mine because it has a smaller handle on it, just so I can wrap my hands around it with a little bit better grip. And it's easier for me to load weights on the ends because it's not as long as his bar. But I was working out by myself, so I set up my bar on the rack for squats, and I set up his bar on the ground for deadlifts. Now, I was doing sets. So I was doing 4x10 on each. So that means I would do sets of 10 repetitions and repeat that 4 times with a superset in between. That just means I would go directly from one exercise to the next. So for those of you that might not be familiar with this style workout, I would do 10 repetitions of squats and then go directly to my deadlifts and do those 10 times and go back and forth 4 times total. I always track my lifting weights and what I've been doing in a journal. That way I can see how far I'm progressing and making my goals, and I can just kind of keep track, like, I was, squatting 100 last week. I want to squat 105 this week and incrementally go up. Sometimes I reach those goals, sometimes I don't, but that way I just kind of can track my progress. And after doing both of my sets for both the squats and the deadlifts, I was tabulating my weights that I've been writing down in my notebook, and I realized after doing all of my sets that I'd actually been lifting 10 pounds more on my deadlifts than I had written down. So the bar that my husband uses is 45 pounds. Mine's normally 35. And because I'd been using his bar for my deadlifts, I was tabulating my weight and adding up the plates as if I had been using my own bar. So the whole time during my workout, I thought I had been doing deadlifts at 135 pounds. And I thought it felt heavier than normal, but I didn't really think much of it. I just figured, I took a week off the week before. I was sick, so everything was going to feel heavier to me. But I'd actually been lifting 145 pounds the whole time. Not that I'd never done that weight before for my deadlifts, but typically when I go heavier, I will do maybe 150, 155 pounds on my deadlifts, but I'll do a lesser amount of repetitions, more like 5 reps 5 times through, like repeating that 5 times. So when you go heavier on weights, you want to do less reps. But my own limiting belief would have kept me from hitting my potential. I had to kind of trick my brain without even realizing it myself that I could lift more than I thought. And this led me to realize and start thinking to myself that I can do more than I thought. I'm stronger than I think. And then I started thinking, what other limiting beliefs do I have? In what ways do I hold myself back simply because I don't think I can do it? We all have limiting beliefs, and each person's self-talk is different based on their childhood, an event, or maybe a traumatic situation. And this sort of self-talk is, limiting beliefs that we all have led because of our stories. I know Tony Robbins refers to this type of self-talk as our stories. So what stories have you been telling yourself to come up with the internal talk or that internal BS that is keeping you from finding your purpose, being on mission, or just showing up in the world with who you're meant to be? Something happens in our past. Maybe a parent left you and your family. You internalized that and told yourself with that self-talk that dad left because you weren't worthy of love. That then becomes the narrative in our head or your head, whether it's conscious or unconscious. Have you ever said something like, well, that's just my luck? Or speak in terms that make it seem that it's one way all the time. I never get the job promotion, or I always get a ticket when I get pulled over. The problem is, not only do these statements affect our choices, if you believe you won't get the promotion, then what are the chances that you'll even apply for it? But worse, the self-talk becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. That limiting belief dictates how much action you're going to take, therefore affecting the result that you get, and then you receive more of the same negative consequence, thus reinforcing the negative self-talk. Vicious cycle. The stories soon start to dictate our lives, our choices, the actions we take, and thus the current situation we find ourselves in. I was there myself. When I was at my worst with the insomnia and the depression, my negative talk was not that I just couldn't sleep, that I was now destined to live a life without energy, and that I would just continue to also be overweight. That led me to make even more poor choices, and the actions that I was taking created more of my current situation. I thought since I couldn't sleep anyway, I stayed up late watching TV, which kept my brain engaged with all my devices on. And I thought, I can't lose weight anyway, so I didn't work out and I ate anything and everything in sight. Pizza and ice cream? Of course. I was up 30 pounds anyway. Why not just eat what I want and at least enjoy the 20 plus hours of awake time I was destined to be awake? No wonder I kept having more of the same. No energy, no sleep, and gaining more weight every day. I was fulfilling my own limiting belief and accepting that story as my truth. It wasn't until I drew a line in the sand, starting to make the conscious choices and changing my story, that my life started to turn around. I had to not only change my internal monologue, but also take the action steps for lasting change. I personally started with journaling, giving myself positive affirmations every day, writing down that I was strong, that I slept 8 hours a night, and that I would wake up feeling well rested. I would write down and tell myself that I weighed a healthy weight again, that my favorite jeans zipped up easily, and that I felt confident when I looked in the mirror. The key with replacing my negative self-talk is to not only replace it with positive, but put it in a positive statement. So rather than saying, I want to lose weight or I will lose weight, I told myself, I'm at a healthy weight. Rather than saying, I don't want to be up all night, I will say, I will get a good night's rest. I will sleep 8 hours a night. Does that make sense? Now, to me, at least, these things definitely felt like a lie at first, especially when I still wasn't sleeping. I still wasn't at the weight I wanted. I was still eating salad and chicken and hadn't reset my body's hormones yet, so I still couldn't lose the weight. But as the more and more I started to implement these affirmations in my life with my daily practice and my morning journaling and affirmations, the more true they started to feel. And I also put them in a current context, saying it like it was already true. Next, I had to start taking the action steps to support these new stories. When these new affirmations had been replaced in my mind, I then started taking the actions to make sure that they would become true. I had to start turning off my devices early in the evening. So that meant putting my phone on airplane mode, setting aside in a different room, turning off the TV, reading an actual paper book, and calming my brain down in order to sleep. If I wanted to be strong, that meant I needed to start putting my body to work again to gain strength. That was when I joined a CrossFit gym. Even though I was scared to death and I'd never lifted a weight in my life, I knew I needed to do something different if I wanted a different result. If I wanted to be at a healthy weight, I needed to start putting the right fuel in my body. That meant packing food, eating vegetables and protein and healthy fats, even when I was tired and I didn't want to meal prep or cook. No more drive-thrus, no more quick fixes, and no more, oh, just this one time, or the diet will start tomorrow. By replacing our limiting beliefs with positive ones, writing them down, and replacing our actions with choices that will replace bad habits, that's what will create lasting change. What else is key? Telling yourself this every single day. Maybe it's with journaling. That's what I do. Or maybe for you, it's putting it on Post-it notes and slapping them on the bathroom mirror. Maybe you record yourself on your phone app saying these affirmations and play it back to yourself every single morning. Maybe it's a morning practice, meditation, reciting, whatever works for you. Try some different things out, see what you can stick with, and keep doing it. My morning journaling practice only takes about 5 minutes, but it's something I can do every single day, and I take my little journal with me even when I travel. So what is your limiting beliefs? Maybe your limiting belief is that you aren't trained in a passion of yours, so you can't do it. So first, replace that limiting belief, then start taking actions. Maybe you love photography, but your limiting belief is, I've never taken a course on photography. I can't be a professional photographer and turn it into a business. Maybe first, replace your negative self-talk and then find a community college class on that topic, or start taking tutorials online if you can't afford a college class, much cheaper. Heck, start by using YouTube videos and start taking pictures for free of friends and family. When I started my styling business, I first just started offering my services for free to anybody, all my friends, all my family. I was like, let's come to your closet. Let's clean it out. Let's purge. Let's make new outfits. I just started doing it for free. I reached out to a local photographer and styled all of her senior models absolutely for free, just for my own experience, 1, and 2, to help her out as well, and 3, to end up with some great photos of all the girls that I styled, so that way it was a give and take relationship. And I even told myself that I could never have my own personal styling business for a myriad of reasons. You know, it was a small town. I haven't gone to fashion school. I don't have a business degree to learn how to run a business. Again, all limiting beliefs, but I started using the tools that I did have. I have a degree in education. Now I'm just educating adults and women in particular on how to dress for their shape and their coloring and create new outfits. So I'm teaching others about styling. I did online courses, and I even found an accredited school for personal styling so I could get certified as a personal stylist. And then, like I said, I just started doing it for free as much as I could to get more confidence, more, background in how I wanted to run my business. I also found mentors, not just in styling, but in business and finance. I started to educate myself on how to run a business. And thankfully, my husband is a great resource in a lot of aspects as well. I'm still learning every day. I make mistakes. I've made mistakes, but every day I get up and I tell myself my positive affirmations that put me in the right frame of mind to make the most out of my action steps for each and every day. If you're curious, some of my positive affirmations include that I'm strong, talented, and beautiful. Strong, I go to that one a lot because I do now actually enjoy working out. Hence the topic of this podcast. It's something I've had to develop a liking for. I call myself talented because I love to see the beautiful potential, not only in women and how they present themselves, but with style and fashion. I love to draw and paint. And so those are some of the ways that I execute my talents. And then I tell myself I'm beautiful because For a long time, I told myself I wasn't pretty enough to do the things that I wanted to do, that I didn't have the right look to be in pageants. I didn't have the right look or the right face to be a stylist. Nobody was going to trust me because I'm not pretty enough. So those are negative self-talk BS that I've replaced with the fact that I'm strong, talented, and beautiful. And like I said, at first, it felt like a complete lie. I felt like I was being fake with myself every morning when I would try to tell myself that. And it probably has taken 2 to 3 years for me to just now start believing it. I'm just now to the point where I can look at myself in the morning with no makeup on, fresh-faced, and actually really see myself. For my whole life, so close to 27, 28 years before I started these affirmations, I literally didn't look myself in the eye in the mirror. I would avoid looking at my face when I first got up. I would put on makeup. Yes, I would look in the mirror, but I was never really seeing myself. I was just applying all the makeup in the areas that I knew needed it. Eye makeup, mascara, liner, doing the whole thing, putting on all my pounds of concealer and foundation in hopes to hide behind all the makeup. And then once the painting process was done, then I would look at myself in the mirror. And even then I still didn't like what I saw, but I thought it was better. Moral of the story is become clear on what your negative limiting beliefs are. Switch them to positive affirmations, recite them every day in whatever way works for you, and then start taking the action steps to achieve those goals. Thank you for listening today, and I hope that you found something that resonated. If you have a style, fashion, health, or even a pageant question, be sure to email me, Deidra at stylebydeidra.com, and I can feature your question on a future episode. If you're listening to this on your smartphone, take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram story and tag me on Instagram at stylebydeidra because I will share your story on mine as well. Thanks and have a great day.
Hey ladies, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoyed today's episode. To help empower more women, please be a doll and rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. For show notes and other free resources we mentioned today, go to stylebydeidra.com.